USC and UCLA leaving the Pac-12 to go to Big Ten. We talked about how weird it was and how weird it's going to be. Now there's talks of the Big 12 taking 6 schools from the Pac-12. And those schools are, let me pull it up here. Those schools are Arizona, Arizona State, Colorado, Oregon, Utah, and Washington. But as sources told, is that Pac-12 is not panicking. They believe that if they're able to maintain Oregon and I think Utah, that they would be able to convince the other teams to stay as well. Oh, Oregon and Washington. But yeah, what you think the Pac-12 is going to die, Gabe? We've already seen USC, UCLA leave.
Yeah,
will the other schools leave to Big 12? Will Big 12 get stronger? Because we've been talking about how Big 12 needed to replace Alabama. Not Alabama. They needed to replace Oklahoma and Texas. The two powerhouse clubs, two powerhouse schools. Now they need to replace those because the rest of their field is not that great.
So I haven't been following closely, and I'm not the largest college fan unless Miami's playing. But from what I gather, is a lot of these conferences, they have these obviously these licensing deals where they license whatever to ESPN. They have all these huge giant networks they have set up, and one of the biggest factors I've seen with the relocation and moving of all these teams is like one thing that they actually want to see is this is a funny thing. They want to see. They have certain rights that are certain rights by like certain states and areas, right? Because the colleges were set up like this is for my school that I went to, it was Mid Eastern Atlantic Conference, or they have the ACC Atlantic, so it's usually East Coast teams or a West Coast team or a Northern team, whatever. So all these teams are set up, and it used to be regional, like they just had this kind of area, and they kind of what they're looking for with all these deals is like a lot of states, and so they're looking for new states. So the fact that last week we talked about UCLA going was it to the Big Ten? Like those are like Midwestern teams, right? They're going to be in the fall.
The travel's going to be insane.
Yeah, when they go to Penn State, when they go to Pennsylvania, or they go to Illinois or whatever in the fall, it's going to be all wintry there. So like, why is that California?
And they never played in snow.
Going to be
played in snow. Being in the
so why is the California team going to be playing in the snow? In the whatever, but I think a lot has to do with the state stage rights, right? So once they want to each conference they want represented by different states because that area is kind of like for the broadcasting of it, for the TV part of the money, they want that area kind of secure. Like they don't want a lot of teams from the same area. They want it kind of spread out. So I think this makes sense for the Pac-12 if they're gonna get another team from out of state. They're going to get Oregon, Washington, whatever. It makes sense from what I've been hearing. So I don't know if it's going to dissolve. I just think this is a lot of moving parts. There's all these teams are trying to.
You think the Big 12? You think the Big 12 can recruit them out of there? I mean, that'd be a lot of teams in the Big 12. And the Big 12, it won't be as much of a travel, but it's still mostly all Midwestern Texas states. So it won't be that bad. It'll still be a check, but.
And traveling is how schools make their money, right? They make money from, I don't know if y'all know how the athletic departments work, but for a team to go, you have to pay like whatever 100,000, 500,000. You have to pay the visiting team to come play you. So that's why I guess however the money moves around, they want it separate from different states. So I've been hearing also a lot of rumors about other. We talk about the Pac-12, but I've been hearing stuff about the ACC, about certain teams that want to move. That it probably most likely won't happen. So yeah, I don't know, Julian. How do you feel about the Pac-12 or this acquisition or this what they're trying to do with it? How do you feel like this is going to affect college football in general? Do you think it's going to be competitive? Do you think it's a watchable product?
I mean, I don't think they're leaving. I don't think they're going to leave Pac-12. Hearing the Pac-12 saying that they're not panicking and they're going to remain calm, like they think our big schools are going to stay. I think it's true. I don't think moving to the Big 12 doesn't really do anything, especially now that Texas and Oklahoma, especially Oklahoma, now that they're gone, it's like, do you want to go to a lesser school? And then also that conference is going to be huge. And I think they'd rather stay on the West Coast. I think it's still, I think Pac-12 is a stronger division, a stronger conference, even losing USC and UCLA, which haven't really been that good the past few years. for the past decade, really. Uh, I think the Pac-12 is going to remain, and they might bring some. They might be able to recruit somebody from the Big 12. I don't know what the Big 12 is offering. I think Big 12 is desperate to remain a Power Five conference. Now that they lost like their big school, um, but we'll see. I think Pac-12 is going to remain as is. I don't see them moving. I mean, Jojo, you think they're going to move those six schools? Those are the big hitters too.
Honestly, I think it's too much of a power move right now. Of course, people don't like change in general, right? So when they hear about these rumors and everything going on, and you see these sudden change with the two schools, it could start a movement, right? That's kind of what people want. They just want to start a movement and disrupt things. But I don't think a move this big with the six schools is going to happen. Well, not in the next few years, at least.
Yeah, that's my thing. They're big schools too. They're not like these are their heavy hitters, and I still think it's more competitive to stay in Pac-12.
And I think one of the ththings, I'm speaking out of ignorance because all these conferences, they sign certain, like I said, they sign contracts. I believe, ESPN set up contracts with the ACC network, with the Longhorn network. They have all these networks that are signed for a certain amount of deals. So I think one thing to look at is for these certain conferences, when are their TV deals up, or when are they due for renewal, or when are they released from the licensing rights that they give away to these companies, right? Whether it be ESPN or Fox or whoever. If it's going to be Amazon or Disney, whoever is going to buy their rights. I think looking at the contracts when they end, that's going to be a big factor in seeing what teams transition to different places. And also, like I said, they want regional security, right? They want to plant their seat. Like, you gotta have one California team, one Illinois team, one South Carolina team, or one Florida team, one whatever. So those are going to be big factors. I think also I've heard rumors of. I think they say the next domino fall is going to be to look at Notre Dame, because Notre Dame has been independent. They don't belong to any conference in general. So they've been independent for a long time. But from what I'm hearing is Notre Dame was probably going to be the next big piece they're going to sign to. But they say rumored is going to be the ACC because
I heard that too. A lot. ACC. Yeah. I mean, they're rumored to go. I don't want to say they're ACC. Essentially ACC, but they play a lot of ACC.
Yeah, they play a lot of ACC teams. So while they are independent, they're trying to make their own little, be their own little thing. I think most likely they will join the conference, and that's probably the next thing to drop. I've also heard rumors of Miami trying to get into the SEC, which I don't know how that would work because Florida's already there, right? It's already
Miami's got to win the ACC.
Yeah, they're not even. Yeah. I don't think they're going to.
They're getting smoked by everybody. Until they can win a game, bro.
Clinging on to the past, man. Clinging on to the past. You got to worry about that right now.
I believe the ACC, they're signed with ESPN all the way to 2035 or 2036. They have some kind of 10-year deal that it's for a while. So
I will say here's one thing to consider too. You got to consider the rivalries. I don't think they're going to break up rivalries. I don't see them bringing Miami in, for example, without bringing in FSU. I don't see that happening. They're not going to break up those rivalries that are historic and have been around for 70, 80 years or something like that. Well, that's why USC and UCLA went together, because they don't want to. That's where the big money is too, is in those rivalry games. That's where the eyeballs are.
Yeah. And you have, huge boosters and alumni that, support the teams, and they want to see kind of that tradition carry on, right? You want to see those rivalries. You grew up as a kid, you went to college, and then you have kids, and you want to
Michigan, Ohio State, Georgia, Florida. Yeah.
So,
Auburn.
we'll see. Like I said, I think this is a fine movement. This is all this stuff is monetary for them to secure licensing fees and rights and shit. So, it's fine. I don't think it's going to disappear. It's just going to change a little bit. I think there'll be new, with this era of new money being around, now players being paid. It's going to be, it's going to be, I think it's going to end up being a couple, those two conferences that are the big ones, the big champions ones. And then teams will just move around to kind of secure whatever they can for whatever schools they're working for. So,
yeah. On the final thought, I'm curious how it would affect the rankings. When it comes to having 2 losses versus 3, is 3 losses not a big deal anymore? I'd be actually kind of down for that. But we'll see.